All right, today we are digging into a really fascinating case study. How do you actually sell super high-end classic cars online? We're going to see how one agency combined a slow and steady SEO strategy with some really fast targeted paid ads to find buyers for cars worth over 80,000 euros. This is going to be a good one.
And this, right here, is the central question, isn't it? You're not just moving a product, you're selling a piece of automotive art, a piece of history. These are purchases driven by passion, and they come with a hefty price tag. So how in the world do you pinpoint that perfect buyer, that serious collector, in the massive, noisy world of the internet? Let's see how they did it.
So here's our roadmap. First, we'll tackle the unique challenge itself. Then we'll dive into their organic search strategy, followed by their paid ads. We'll see how those two work together, and then, the best part, we'll calculate that incredible ROI. And finally, we'll boil it all down to a blueprint you can use.
Okay, first things first, you have to get into the buyer's head. Nobody impulse buys a classic Alfa Romeo. It's a journey, right? It's emotional. You're not just selling horsepower and leather, you're selling a dream, an investment. And that means your entire marketing strategy has to be built on a foundation of trust and authority, not just quick clicks.
So, knowing all that, they started with a really solid foundation, a long-term SEO plan. The goal here wasn't just to get any old traffic, it was to attract the right traffic. People who are already deep in the buying cycle, actively searching for classic cars to buy and invest in. This was all about building a sustainable, long-term pipeline of very serious buyers.
And just look at how laser-focused they were. They weren't going after broad terms like cool classic cars. No way. They targeted what we call high-intent keywords. Things like classic Porsche 911 for sale or buy classic sports car in Spain. You see the difference? These phrases are typed in by people who are basically saying, I'm ready to buy, show me what you've got.
And here is the payoff for all that hard work. By the end of 2025, a whopping 21 of their 26 target keywords, that's over 80%, were on the first page of Google. Now, this isn't just good visibility. This is flat-out dominance in their specific niche. They basically owned the digital storefront where all their best customers were shopping.
But no strategy is ever perfect, and it's important to be honest about that. The strength was obvious. They dominated the search results for the keywords that mattered most. The weakness? Well, a pretty low click-through rate at 1.6%, and a few key pages weren't getting indexed. But this isn't a failure. This is just data showing you exactly what to work on next.
Okay, so with that organic engine just humming along, it was time to add some rocket fuel. And that's where their precision paid advertising comes into play. The goal here wasn't to spend a ton of money, but to use surgical strikes to speed up growth and really build on that SEO strength they'd created.
8 cents. Let that sink in. Their average cost for a click was 8 cents. In the automotive industry, where a single click can cost you several euros, this number is, well, it's almost unbelievable. It just goes to show they found this perfect sweet spot of valuable keywords that their competitors were completely overlooking. And what about on social media? Well, they spent just 269 euros, not for a day, but for the entire month of March. For a market where a single sale can be worth more than a new luxury car, that is a tiny, tiny budget. But as you're about to see, it's not about how much you spend, it's all about what you get back.
And here's the magic number. That small investment got them leads, serious potential buyers, for just under 27 euros each. Think about it. For less than the price of a nice dinner out, they got a person who was so interested that they formally requested a price quote on a car worth tens or even hundreds of thousands of euros. That is just incredible efficiency.
And this right here is the absolute key to the whole thing. The SEO and the paid ads weren't running in their own little silos. They were a team. SEO is the big, powerful engine providing that consistent, highly qualified traffic day in and day out. And the paid ads, they were like a turbocharger, giving a strategic boost of speed right when it was needed most.
You can literally see the momentum building right here on this chart. A 26% jump in organic clicks in just 1 month. This is that compounding power of a great SEO strategy finally kicking into high gear. And it was just getting started.
This chart really tells the whole story, doesn't it? Organic search is the undeniable king, the workhorse driving more than half of all their traffic. But look at paid search. That 14% is so important. It's the strategic boost that elevates everything. Together, they're an unstoppable force, bringing in almost 70% of all visitors. All right, now for the part that every business owner really cares about, the return on investment. We've seen the tiny ad spend, we've seen the efficient leads, but how does that translate into actual potential revenue? Let's follow the money.
The math here is actually really simple, but it's so powerful. They put in 269 euros. That investment generated 10 formal quote requests from what we know are serious buyers. You do the quick division, and that gives you a cost per lead of just under 27 euros. Simple as that.
And this is where the whole strategy just becomes absolutely mind-blowing. On one side of the equation, you have a cost of less than 30 euros to get a lead. On the other side, you have a product that sells for a minimum of 15,000 euros, and often much, much more. The potential return on that tiny investment is just astronomical.
The report itself puts it perfectly. Even if you're being super conservative and you assume they only close one single sale from those 10 leads, the revenue from that one sale completely demolishes what they spent on ads. I mean, that is the literal definition of a high ROI campaign.
So, what's the big takeaway from all this? This case study isn't really just about classic cars. It's a blueprint. It's a model for any business that sells a high-value, niche product or service. So let's break down that winning formula. So here it is, the formula in a nutshell. You start by building that strong SEO foundation to attract customers who are already looking for you. Then, you use hyper-efficient paid ads as an accelerator, not a crutch. You make sure those two channels are working together, reinforcing each other. Then, you have to ignore the vanity metrics and focus like a laser on what actually drives revenue, your cost per lead and your potential ROI. And finally, you never stop testing, learning, and optimizing. Look, the success you see here wasn't an accident. It wasn't luck. It was a masterclass in smart, integrated digital strategy. It proves that by combining the long-term vision of SEO with the tactical speed and precision of paid ads, even the most niche, high-value markets can achieve some truly incredible and, more importantly, scalable growth. And that's our deep dive on this one. If you're looking for these kinds of results, you can check them out at alexmultimedia.es.